Uh, like anyone tried patching SQL servers, guys? Isha, can you share your screen? Is it possible to share the screen?
Yeah, actually, I'm connected from mobile.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay. So in the meantime, just start your laptop and let me know. Okay, we'll
Okay.
check that one as well. Uh, Someone is also facing the issues, right? Okay, fine. So let me tell you one thing, guys. So in case if your remote connection is not working, okay, I told you this point earlier also. In case if you are unable to copy, if you are unable to copy the patch file from your local laptop to the VM virtual machine, okay, then I gave you the software links, right? Okay, so in that software links there is another ssms called ssms.iso file will be there. Okay, ssms.iso file will be there. So download this ssms one file, ssms.iso another file. So download this ssms.iso and go to the Oracle VirtualBox machine settings. Okay, so like how you attach this Windows server, how you will attach the what is that SQL server ISO. In the same way, you have to attach that ISO in the virtual machine settings. In the storage option, you have to attach that SSMS ISO. Once you attach that SSMS ISO, okay, in the VirtualBox settings, then you can see that SSMS in the particular D drive of the VM, guys. Okay, go to settings and go to storage. Here replace the SQL server with ssms.iso. Okay, as I have already did it, so that's why I can see here. For you, you cannot see in this list. You have to choose virtual optical disk file. You have to go to that location, to which location you downloaded that ssms.iso, generally to the downloads. Okay, go to downloads and select that ssms.iso. Once you selected that ssms.iso, it will be attached as a D drive in the virtual machine. Then log into the virtual machine, open the D drive. There you can see setup file. There you can install the management studio. Okay, fine, guys. Right, some people are having issues, okay, in downloading the patch file. Okay, some people might be their VMs are not connected through RDP, so they are having some limitations, okay, to use RDP connection, remote connection. So in that case, you cannot copy the files from your local laptop to the virtual machine. Okay, this is almost fourth time or fifth time I'm again discussing this point. If you are not connected through RDP, you cannot copy anything from your local laptop to the virtual machine. For that, do the same settings what I did for the remote virtual machine settings. Do the same settings. Okay, like enabling the network. Okay, so do the same settings, guys. Make sure you are getting an internet. Okay, then you can start downloading the ssms directly in your virtual machine itself. Okay, so for that what you have to do is you have to enable file download option in the internet explorer. Otherwise you cannot download the files. Okay, I'll show you now how to download, how to enable that file download option in the internet explorer. In case if you're unable to download, first thing is make sure that you are getting internet. Isha, you are getting internet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You are getting internet. Okay, so make sure that you are getting internet to your virtual machine. Then enable that download file download option in the internet explorer. Then you can start downloading the files, guys. Okay, you will get lot of notifications when you start using this internet explorer. You have to keep adding the pages, guys. Okay, because of security and all. So let me show you how to enable that file download option in the internet explorer. Then you can try from your side, guys. Any other questions, challenges? Might be the IP address is changed. Let me check.
Yeah, hi sir.
Yes, please.
While I'm patching the hello,
Yes, I can hear you.
while I'm removing the patching, I got some error.
Correct. So
MSP
generally,
error.
while removing the patching, you will get MSA MSP missing errors, guys. So in the last class, I told you how to fix that one. Have you tried in that method?
No. When will we run it? I can stop it and I will try it.
Yeah. Just try it. Okay. Go to Internet Explorer. Okay. So here, go to the settings.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
I also downloaded an SQL and installed SQL and I downloaded that SSMS, but I couldn't able to join the SSMS. I don't know how I did mistake.
No, like have you copied SSMS to the virtual machine?
Yes, sir.
So it was there on your virtual machine. Your SSMS file is there on your virtual machine, right?
Yes, sir. I can see it in in this.
Okay, so you install that SSMS, but you cannot see your SSMS.
Yes, sir.
So which version you are using? Which Windows OS you are using?
Windows 11 Home.
Windows 11 Home. Okay. So in that case, generally what you can do is, last time someone having issues. Who is that lady? Let me check her name. Let me check whether she can share her screen. Last time having a 17, no, not 17.
Yeah, at that time I connected through, I trying to connect it with remote, but I couldn't. So I tried to install that.
Okay. Sri Lakshmi.
Mm.
Sri Lakshmi, can you hear me?
Yes,
So you have the same issue, right? Similar issue, right? You installed Windows 2016, right?
yes.
Okay. Can you share your screen? Is it possible to share your screen? Are you connected through mobile?
No.
Oh, okay,
It
okay.
right.
Okay, fine. No issues, no issues. I'll ask her to share her screen only. Okay, no problem,
Yeah.
no problem. Yeah. So first enable the file download option in the Internet Explorer, guys. Go to Internet Explorer, go to the settings button, and here you can see uh, Internet options. Okay, let me go to this. Yeah, Internet options. Here go to security. Okay, there you can see internet trusted sites, something like that. Not sites. Okay, let me check that one. Okay, yeah, here go to trusted sites, go to custom level. If you go down, okay, you can see one option called file download. Generally it will be disabled. Okay, file download one or two download files. You can see here, right? Download files, file download. Isha, and the same way you did it. Isha.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I enabled that.
So you enabled, still you are unable to download.
Yeah.
You are able to open Google and all, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I click the download option, that's the problem. Not going to.
Okay. Internet custom level. Okay. One minute. Do one thing. Okay. So go to the security tab and you can see right internet, local intranet. Okay. So what you can do, either I guess you enabled it for internet or trusted sites. Okay. So just check it and enable it for 4. Okay. 4 or 3. Enable that file download option for you can see 4 zones, right? You can see internet and local internet. So enable it for all 4. Okay. Then try it once again. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Done. No problem. So someone said like they cannot see SSMS, right? Can you share your screen? Can you share your screen? Someone said I cannot see SSMS.
Yes, sir, I'm trying to share this.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Okay, let me give you the share access. Yeah, you can share the screen, Durga. Right? So
Okay, sir.
you installed SSMS, but you cannot see SSMS, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so go to that Windows icon on the taskbar. Okay, just type SSMS here. No, on the top you can see type to search SSMS or SS. Nothing is there. Okay, just type SS. Okay, no, this is a setup file. Okay. Are you sure? Have you installed SSMS? Open appis.cpl. Open run.
Okay, sir. What, sir?
Open run. No, 1 minute. Let me take control of your machine.
Okay, run now.
Yeah, run. Just approve my request. Okay, done. Let me check from my side. Appis.cpl. So installed SSMS in the local machine or what? You haven't created the virtual machines?
Yes, sir. I created a virtual machine.
Then where is virtual machine? Where is your virtual machine?
Rocket virtual machine.
So where you installed SSMS?
In this, yes, you told that
You installed SSMS in the local laptop or in the Windows server?
in Windows Server only, sir.
Windows server.
Download first. I downloaded, and after that I installed.
The Windows server only.
Yeah,
Right?
sir.
Then why you are saying like Windows 11? Okay, so whenever I asked what is the OS you are using, means always you have to tell about the server OS, not your laptop OS. Okay. So which OS you installed? Windows 2016 or Windows 2012? In the virtual machine, which OS you installed? Okay, fine. Yes, in the virtual machine.
Windows 11. You told Windows 11 at
Windows 11 is your local laptop OS. Okay, this is Windows 11. I did not give Windows 11. I gave Windows 2012. Okay, so have you installed Windows 2012? Start the VM first.
Yes, sir.
Right. So 1 minute, let me check. Okay, I cannot control. Okay, in the server, this is Windows 2012 only. In the server, open run in the server, not in the laptop. Windows R is the shortcut to open run. Escape.
Windows.
Escape.
Okay. Escape.
Windows R. Windows plus R.
Okay.
App which type appwiz.cpl. appwiz. appwiz.cpl. cpl.
Okay.
Enter. I don't see any SSMS here. Have you installed SSMS here in this virtual machine?
Yes.
You install SSMS. Where is the SSMS file? Where is the SSMS file? You copied the SSMS file to your server right before installing. Where is that file?
My computer I can see, right? In this
You can see on the desktop earlier.
in this SSMS is there, right?
SSMS is there. Now you can see SSMS is there, right? Open that
Yes, sir.
SSMS. D
But
drive.
it is showing 0 bytes.
No, that's okay. You just open it. There's nothing to worry. Okay. Why don't double click on it? Click OK and
Yes,
open.
sir, I did. Okay. But
Right.
it's not showing application not found.
Okay. Again reattach it. Okay. Might be it was like removed. Okay. Just click OK once. Okay. Right click. Try to open it. Right click open. Now it was opened, right?
Yes, sir.
Don't double click on the disks. Okay. Right click open. Right.
Okay.
Now you can see means you haven't installed SSMS, right? You are getting this application, right? You are getting this application error, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now you can see SSMS, right? Right click run as administrator. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I get now open.
Okay, okay, done. Thank you.
Yes.
Right, fine. Okay, so let me share my screen again. So guys, people are still doing lot of basic mistakes. Okay, so very basic mistakes. One guy, what he did is he installed Windows 2012 or Windows 2016, I guess, on his direct laptop. Instead of creating VMs, instead of creating virtual machines and all, he just directly installed Windows 2016 on his laptop. So what happened? His main OS was corrupted. Okay, so his machine was gone. Gone means like the OS, the files, everything will be gone. Okay, so don't do these mistakes. Before doing the practice, always check the videos, then only if you are comfortable, then only start practicing the things. Okay, so instead of one operating system, like instead of one location, if you did the installation in another location, especially in your local laptop, then that's it, your local laptop OS, okay, it will be deleted, guys. It will be overwritten with the new operating system. Okay, that means whatever files and all you can see, that you cannot see if you are doing any mistakes and all. Okay, you cannot access your laptop also. Again, you have to go to some hardware shop and you have to ask them to, okay, reinstall the Windows 10 or Windows 11, guys. Don't do these mistakes. Create the virtual machines. Whatever you are trying to do, always you have to do all your practicals in the virtual machines only to create virtual machines. We'll use local laptops. In the local laptop, other than Oracle VirtualBox, we don't install anything, guys. In the local laptop, other than Oracle VirtualBox software, we don't install anything. Okay, fine. So before doing the practicals, just watch the video 2-3 times, and then once you are comfortable, then only start practicing it, guys. Okay, fine. So today we'll start the security. Today we'll start the security, guys. Okay, security part. So what is the security? How SQL Server will be secured? How a Windows authentication will work? How a SQL Server authentication will work? What is a login? What is a principal? What is securable? What is authentication? What is authorization? Okay, server roles, database roles, customized server roles, customized database roles. Okay, how to give access on a database, right? How to give access on a table, right? How to add any person into the sysadmin role. So all these things we'll discuss today, guys. Okay, today, now, and in the evening session we'll try to complete the security part. Okay, once this security is completed, you are able to understand the security of the SQL Server. You are able to create the logins. You are able to give the permissions. Okay, you are able to revoke the permissions also. Right, fine. So let me explain this, guys. So how security will work generally. So earlier, control plus T na, new tab. Okay, earlier in our beginning classes, I told you like how during the installation of the SQL Server, I just explained about authentication. Generally, what is the uses of Windows authentication, why you have to choose Windows authentication, why you have to choose SQL authentication. Just a brief introduction I gave you during the installation of the SQL Server, guys. Right, so today I'll help you to elaborate this, how generally a Windows guy will log into the machine, how generally a SQL guy will log into the machine. Okay, so let me draw the server. Imagine this is the Windows server. Okay, in this Windows server we have the SQL server. Imagine this is the SQL server, guys. Listen carefully, very important concept. Okay, very important concept, guys. Based on this we'll discuss about the orphan users and all. Okay, Windows server, control B, SQL server. Okay, in any version security is same, guys. Security won't change in any version. Security concepts are same. Okay, right, and let me go with one database 1, 2 and 3. Okay, let me drag it down. Right, okay, fine. So if you see here, okay, I did not open SSMS. So while connecting, generally when we open SSMS, while connecting to the server, we'll get different options. We have to select database engine under component section. We have to give the server name, right? 3 parts, mainly like 3 parts. You have to give 3 parts while connecting to the server, guys. First part is you have to select the component, whether you are trying to connect to the database engine or any other components like SSIS, SSRS, SSES. We will select the database engine. Okay, as a DBS, mostly our work will be on database engine only, means which is SQL Server. Then what we are going to do, guys, then we are going to choose the server name. We are going to select the server name, or we are going to type the server name in the SSMS. Okay, and then after that what we are going to do, guys, security. Okay, authentication type you are going to choose. Which authentication? Either Windows authentication you will choose or SQL Server authentication you will choose. I told you earlier, if you choose Windows authentication, it don't ask password. Why it don't ask password? Can anyone tell me? That doesn't mean anyone can connect without password. Is it going to work like that? When you choose Windows authentication, generally it don't ask username and password. What it means, say for example, Windows guys will have access to this Windows machine. Windows people also can log into the Windows machine. So Windows people can open the SSMS and they can connect to the SQL server directly using that Windows authentication. Why? Because Windows authentication don't ask any username and password, right? Will it work like that?
No.
No, it won't work like that. Okay, why? Because if anyone can log into the SQL server, where is the security? Okay, so it won't work like that, guys. So how it will work, I'll tell you. So generally when you are logging into the Windows machine, this is the Windows machine. Okay, so 1 minute, this is SSMS. Okay, so this, if you see here, it's still opening. Right, now you can see server type, of course you will choose database engine. Server name, of course you will give server name, and authentication you will give either Windows authentication or SQL server authentication. We'll concentrate only on these two, remaining are related to the Azure. Okay, right, if you choose Windows authentication, it don't ask username and password, but you can connect. So what it means, guys, so can anyone log into this Windows machine, can connect to my SQL server without username and password? Is it going to work like that? No. So if you logged into this Windows machine, forget about this SSMS. Okay, let me minimize this SSMS. You can see this is our Windows server. Anyone can log into the Windows server if you are having enough permissions. Okay, so generally if you are having a specific permissions to connect to the Windows server, then you can connect to the Windows server. That means what? They will give you separate username and password, right? They will give you separate username and password. Imagine Giri is one of our student. Giri got a job in one MNC company. So once he's into the MNC company, once he joined in that particular company, after 1 week or after 10 days or after 2 weeks, he will get permissions. Permissions means what? An account will be created to the Giri. Okay, an account will be created to Giri. Okay, so account will be created to Giri. So imagine that account name is Giri something Giri dot a at the rate. Imagine he just selected for Infosys. Okay, Infosys.com. This is kind of like this. Okay, Giri dot a. Okay, so like this kind of account will be created. So while connecting to the server, okay, while connecting to the server, what Giri can do? Giri has to open remote desktop. Giri has to type the IP address to which machine he want to connect, and what Giri has to show details and click connect. Generally username is like this, right? So generally Giri has to give his name. This is server name and username. Okay, Giri. So if you click connect, now Giri will get separate credentials, right? So Giri has to enter his password here. Imagine Giri password is like this, something A B C D E F G H. Okay, at the rate 1 2 3. So what Giri has to do? Giri will get separate credentials. So Giri has to give his password here. Once you click on OK, of course now there is no account called Giri. Of course it will throw the error. So no issues. But hey, what happened? How come? No, yeah, okay. So the username and password is incorrect. Generally it will be like this. So as we are not giving a proper credentials, that's why you are getting an error like this. Not an issue, just to show you. Okay, imagine Giri is using correct username and Giri is using correct password. Now he is able to log into the Windows machine. Imagine this is Giri's session in the Windows server, in the SQL server, how we are having different sessions. One user, okay, Suresh can connect to the SQL server and he can open one session, that is Suresh session. Ramesh can connect to the SQL server and he can open another session called Ramesh session. Saujanya can open one more session and that is her session. Durga can open one more session, that is her session. So everyone can open multiple sessions. Each session will be on their names. So I can see what Durga is doing. I can see what Giri is doing. In the same way, Windows server also. This is a Windows server. Multiple people can connect to this Windows machine. So at this moment, Giri is connected to the Windows server. Once Giri is connected, you can see his name as Giri here. I used administrator connection while logging into the Windows machine, so I can see administrator here. If Giri is connected with his credentials, Giri can see his name here. Clear guys? Giri can see his name here. Then Giri will open SSMS. Once Giri opened SSMS, now Giri will see this kind of screen while connecting to the server. In that case, what is the username guys? If Giri choose Windows authentication, what will be the username? What will be the username?
Instead of administrator, it will be Giri.
Sorry?
Instead of administrator, there will be Giri.
That's it. That's it. Instead of administrator, the name will be Giri. Right? So
Yes.
now SQL Server will check whether Giri can connect, whether Giri is having access to the SQL Server or not. Don't think that this option is grayed out means it don't look for username. No, that means you cannot edit. If you choose Windows authentication, you cannot edit the username. That is the meaning of this option. Don't think username and password we are not giving so anyone can log in. No, that's completely wrong. You cannot, if you choose Windows authentication, you cannot edit the username and password. Automatically it will take the username. Which username? Which user is logged into the Windows machine, that username it will take it as a username guys while connecting. And SQL Server will check here in the security, in the logins list. SQL Server will check whether Giri is part of this logins list or not. Now tell me guys, Giri is part of this logins list. Can you see Giri here? Computer name / Giri. Can you see? No, I cannot see Giri here. So it won't allow me, okay, to connect to the it won't allow Giri to connect to the SQL Server guys. If you see here administrator, okay, this is the account, okay. Yes, this is the machine name and then this is the administrator account. So you are using the same account. As this account is already present in the logins list, it will allow administrator to connect to the SQL Server. If someone deleted this account, then administrator also cannot connect to the SQL Server. So don't think anyone can log into the Windows machine, can connect to the SQL Server. No. The people of this logins list, only the people of this logins list can connect to the SQL Server. Even though you are having access to Windows machine, even though you are a Windows administrator, that doesn't mean you can connect to the SQL Server. This is how generally the security will work in the SQL Server. This is an interview question. Okay, so Windows people, network people, so those who can access the Windows machine, by default they cannot connect to the SQL Server. A login should present in the logins list of the SQL Server. The people of the logins, okay, the people of this particular logins list, only they can connect to my SQL Server. Is it clear? This is how Windows authentication will work. So Windows authentication, don't ask the username and password. That doesn't mean, okay, it can connect. It will take the default username. Which default username to which login you use it to connect to the Windows machine. That default username, it will take it as a login name. If that login name is present inside the SQL Server, it will allow that person to connect to the SQL Server. Otherwise, it will simply stop him. He cannot connect to the SQL Server. If you choose SQL Server authentication, then you can give. Here also same concept, but Windows authentication won't allow you to edit the username and password. SQL Server will allow you to edit the username and password. In the same way, if I give Giri and if I give any password, I cannot connect. I will get the error. Login failed for user Giri. Why? Because Giri I don't see in this list. SQL Server authentication is also same concept. But Windows authentication won't allow you to enter the username and password. SQL Server authentication will allow you to enter the username and password. So after entering the username and password, again it will check here whether Giri is in this list or not. No, Giri is not in this list. Okay, then it will be failed, guys. If it is there in this list, then it will verify whether Giri gave correct password or not. Yes, he gave correct password. Then it will allow you to connect. Initially itself Giri is not present. How come it will allow? So it won't allow. So generally in the organization, okay, will connect means DBAs will connect to the server using Windows authentication. DBAs accounts will be Windows authentication accounts generally, okay, and the developers and all their accounts will be, of course their accounts also will be Windows accounts only. Sometimes it will be SQL accounts also. Okay, so if you are using Windows authentication, generally. What you have to do, guys, imagine, let me show you the same, how SQL authentication, Windows authentication will work. So laptop, okay, so imagine this is my laptop, imagine this is my laptop. Okay, so what I can do, I'll log into the laptop once. Okay, I'll connect to the office first and then I'll log into the laptop. So once I log into the laptop, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to type mstsc here, mstsc or remote. I'll open run in my laptop, I'll type mstsc. So I'll open this kind, I'll get this kind of okay, window. Then I'll give the server name and I'll give the username. Of course, if I'm regularly connecting, it won't ask username, it will connect, okay, with the same username and all. So I'll open SSMS, sorry, not SSMS, I'll open remote desktop in my local laptop. By using this remote desktop, I'll connect to the server remotely like this, okay. I'll connect to the server from my laptop, I'll connect to the Windows server. This is, imagine what is the IP address of this machine. Okay, Control C and let me copy paste the IP address, Control V. Okay, this is my machine. So now I just logged into this Windows machine using MSTSC or using remote desktop feature. I just log into this Windows machine. Okay, so this is me, user. This is fine. Okay, so now I just entered into the Windows machine, guys. So what I will do now, I'll open SSMS in the Windows server. Okay, here in the Windows machine, I'll open SSMS. Then I'll connect to the SQL server, guys. This is how generally Windows authentication. Windows authentication means you have to first connect to the server. Okay, you have to first connect to the server. Right, first you have to connect to the server. And once you are in the server, then you have to open SSMS. Then you have to connect to that particular server. Using SSMS, you will connect to the server. This is generally Windows authentication. Okay, so when you are inside the machine, when you open SSMS, generally it will take your name. So if your name is present inside the SQL Server logins list, okay, if your name is present inside the SQL Server logins list, SQL Server will allow you to connect to the particular instance, guys. Clear? Any issues, any questions here, guys, please? Any questions here? No questions? Are we good? Okay.
Hello.
Yes, please.
This login call like this Windows server.
Sorry, your voice is breaking completely.
Is now okay now?
Yes.
Is it audible?
Again, your voice is breaking.
Hello.
Yes.
Actually, this login depend on Windows server only, right? I mean, if you,
Windows logins. Windows
login
login.
only.
Yes.
Windows login. So
Yes.
mainly depending on Windows login,
Correct.
not in the SQL server or SMS server.
No, you cannot say like that. Initially, it will depends on Windows login, and you should be. That's why I'm just mentioning here. This is the security of the SQL server. In the security, if you are there, then only imagine this is Shanmukh login. Okay, so now Shanmukh is able to log into this Windows machine. Okay, now this is Shanmukh. I am in this particular machine. I am able to log into the Windows machine. As Shanmukh is present here, I can connect to the SQL server. If Shanmukh is not here in this list, even though I am able to connect to the Windows machine, I cannot connect to the SQL server. Why? Because my name is not there in the security of the SQL server. I am not part of the SQL server logins list. Nothing is there, very simple thing. Okay, if you are using Windows authentication, you should have Windows server access, you should have SQL server access also. And you should be part of SQL server access means what? You should be, once I gave access to you, you will be a part of the SQL server security list or logins list. So the people of the logins list only can connect to the SQL server. This is the only very basic point, a single line agenda. people of the security or logins list can connect to the SQL server. Either it is a Windows authentication or SQL server authentication. The concept is same. Fine.
Okay, fine.
Other than these two people, no one can connect to the SQL server. No one can connect to the SQL server. Okay. Right.
Okay.
So what we are going to do, in case if you need access, I have to create a login for you in the SQL server. Then either it depends upon the SQL authentication or Windows authentication. You are going to choose one method. Okay, you will connect to the SQL server. Okay, fine. So this is how generally Windows authentication will work, guys. How SQL server authentication will work. Okay. So generally SQL people means developers and all. Okay. So developers, what they are going to do generally, okay, they don't have access to the Windows machine, guys. Okay, they don't have access to the Windows machine. So imagine this is their laptop. Okay, this is developer's laptop. Okay, so only SSMS will be installed in the developer's laptops. They don't have any IRC, MSTSC. Okay, only SSMS, only client will be installed in the developer's laptop. So developer will log into his laptop, right? Imagine this is the developer. Okay, developer will log into this particular laptop, his laptop, whatever laptop is there, he will log into his laptop. So once he logged into this particular laptop, so he is able to connect to the, he will open SSMS in the laptop, and then he can see like this. Okay, like this he can see. Right now he will choose SQL Server authentication, and he will give, imagine Giri is a developer, he will give his username and password, and then if Giri is present inside this list, directly developer can connect to the SQL Server without connecting to the Windows server. Okay, from this laptop he will directly connect to the SQL Server. SSMS will be opened. We will open remote connection tool, and will connect to the Windows server. There will open SSMS, and then will connect to the SQL server. What they are going to do, okay, they will directly, like SSMS will be installed in their local laptops, they will directly open SSMS, and from that particular SSMS they will directly connect to the SQL server. They will give the IP address or SQL server name, and they can connect. Means without entering into this Windows server, developers will connect to the SQL server, guys. Clear? Developers are other users, I mean to say. Clear, guys? Any questions here, please let me know. Okay, fine. So silence means no, I'll treat it as no. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can stop me and you can ask me. Right, so like that, if 100 developers are there, 100 developers will use their 100 laptops, and they are going to open SSMS. In all the developers, generally SSMS will be installed. They will give the server name, and they will give the username. They will choose SQL Server authentication, and they are going to connect to the SQL Server, guys. This is how generally SQL authentication will work. Permissions wise, there is no difference between Windows login and SQL login. The logins which are using Windows authentication, those logins are called Windows login. The logins which are using SQL authentication, those logins are called SQL logins. Permissions wise, both are same. You can make Windows login is also sysadmin, you can make SQL login is also sysadmin. There is no difference between SQL login and Windows login. Only difference is how you are connecting. If it is Windows authentication, you will connect in a different way. If it is a SQL authentication, you will connect in a different way. The way that you are connecting is going to be changed. Remaining everything is same, guys. Windows people will have, Windows login will have extra permissions on the Windows machine level. Okay, if Giri is a SQL login and Giri is a sysadmin, Durga is a Windows login and Durga is a sysadmin, then there is no difference between Giri and Durga in SQL server. Both can do all the activities. Both can perform all the actions. Why? Because both are sysadmins in the SQL server level. But Durga can do extra activities in the Windows machine level. She can copy the files, she can create the folders in the Windows server, she can delete the files, backup files and all. Durga can do extra things. Why? Because she is a Windows user. So she will have extra permissions in the Windows machine level. But SQL level, both are same, guys. If both are sysadmin, both are same in the SQL level, guys. Okay, so difference, there is no difference between a SQL login and Windows login. Only difference is permissions. If you are a sysadmin, if you are a SQL authenticist, if you are a SQL login and if you are a sysadmin, and Durga is a Windows login, Durga is a sysadmin, then both will have same kind of permissions. Okay, if you belongs to same role like sysadmin, both will have same kind of, means there is no difference between a Windows login and SQL login if they are having same kind of permissions. Right, fine. So now how it will work? Okay, generally how you are able to connect to the SQL server. Okay, in detail, let's discuss, guys. So imagine this is Shanmukh, right? So Shanmukh is entered into the Windows machine. Now Shanmukh is able to connect to the SQL server. By default, if I gave you the access, to the SQL server, by default Shanmukh can connect to the SQL server. He can connect. Okay, guys, different level of access will be there. Don't think if I connect to the SQL server, I can do everything. No, depends upon your level, guys. Lot of permissions are there. If I gave you at most permissions, then you can do whatever you want. But if I gave you a basic permissions, you cannot do whatever you want. Okay, so don't think if I am able to connect to the SQL server means I can do anything in the SQL server. No, while connecting also I can restrict you in lot of to not touch other things and all. Whatever your work is there, you have to complete your work and you have to come out of the server or SQL server, guys. So I can restrict you, okay, to not to misuse the permissions and all. I can restrict you. So connecting to the SQL server, that doesn't mean you have all the permissions. There are different levels. Okay, based on that levels only you can do different kind of activities. So imagine this is a Windows login, and this Shanmukh got a access to the SQL server, just a basic access. Then he can only connect to the SQL server. He cannot do anything if he got basic access to the SQL server. Okay, if he got basic access to the SQL server, he can log into this SQL server. That's it, guys. Okay, then if he wants to connect to another database, now he just logged into the SQL server, guys. If he logged into the SQL server, as I told you, that doesn't mean he can see all the data. No, again we have to give extra permissions to open the database. Okay, so if I gave access to this particular database, I can restrict him, I can restrict Shanmukh to not to access other database. So I can give only on this database. So Shanmukh can connect to this particular database only. He cannot touch other databases. How he cannot touch other databases? How it will work? Okay, so listen carefully. Let me like this. Okay, fine. Right. So here you just log into the Windows server, then you just log into the SQL server. Log into the SQL server doesn't give you complete access, guys. Depends upon the access, the level of access will be different. Depends upon the permissions, the level of access will be different. So now you are into the SQL server. So again I can give you the permissions. I can restrict you to the database level. Okay, so I can give access only on this database. So you cannot access other two databases. So for example, imagine we have Amazon, okay, and we have Paytm, and we have GPay databases are there. Okay, so if I gave you access on Amazon database, you can connect to only Amazon. You cannot touch other databases. Okay, so I can restrict you till table level, guys. SQL Server security is very excellent security. I can restrict users till table level. I can give access on the SQL server so that he can connect to the SQL server. If you give complete access, sysadmin, he can do whatever he wants, but I can still restrict him. No. Shanmukh is having work on Amazon database, so I want to give access to Shanmukh only on Amazon database. Yes, you can give access to Shanmukh only on Amazon database so that he can connect to Amazon database. He cannot open these other databases. In the Amazon database also lot of tables are there, I want to give access to only 1 or 2 tables to Shanmukh. Yes, I can give access to only a specific table so that he cannot access. I can create lot of tables in that particular database. Still I can restrict the user to not to access the other tables. I can restrict in table level, I can restrict in database level, I can restrict in server level, I can restrict in Windows machine level, guys. Is it clear, everyone? So if I gave access to Shanmukh on this particular database, listen carefully. This is login, guys. This is login. Okay, we'll call it as a login. I'll tell you what is login and all. Okay, login means it's an object which will help you to connect to the database or server. So once if I gave access to you on this particular database, this particular person, this login cannot enter inside the database, guys. Listen carefully, very important. Logins are part of the SQL server. Logins can never enter into the database. Now you want to read the table in this particular database. You want to read a table in this particular database, but you are saying you cannot enter into the database. Then how this person can read? On behalf of this person, when you gave access, on behalf of this person, one user will be created in the database, guys. Okay, let me delete this. One user will be created in the database. Okay, so this is Shanmukh login, right? This is Shanmukh user. Okay, same name will be there. Shanmukh user, for Shanmukh login, Shanmukh user name will be there. Same name, means login name and username both are same. This is the login, guys. Logins are server level objects. If you gave access to any login on any database, on behalf of this login, SQL server will create a user in the database. Logins can never inside into the data, can never log in inside the database, can never enter into the database. Logins can never enter into the database. On behalf of logins, one object will be there. That object is called user. That user will be created in the database. Got the point, guys? So based on this Windows login, SQL login is created. Based on this particular login, SQL login, okay, a database user is created. Means grandfather, father and child relationship. Is it clear, guys? Either it is a Windows login or SQL login, concept is same. If I gave you complete access, then you can, means like sysadmin access. If I gave you sysadmin access across the server, SQL server, then you can connect to all the databases. But if I gave you a partial access, okay, or respective access, whatever access you want, if I gave you a specific access on the specific database, on behalf of this login, a user will be created. Okay, that user will help you to read the data, write the data on behalf of this Shanmukh. This Shanmukh user will read the data from the database and will write the data from the database to the database, guys. If anyone deleted this user, okay, even though you're having access on this database, if someone deleted your user, you cannot connect to the SQL server. Why? Because the one who is helping you, he is not present inside the database. Again, I have to give the access. Clear? Any issues, any doubts here? Please let me know, guys. Very simple topic, okay, but security, guys, I can explain you security in 5 hours. I can explain you security in 5 minutes. At the end of the session, the DBS, what DBS will do in the security, I'll take 5 minutes session, guys. Only 5 minutes, that will be enough. If you don't understand these things also, that will be fine, no issues, but you should know the ground level, how the security will work in the ground. Okay, so that's why I'm explaining all these things. As a DBA will simply limited to give access, to create logins, to give access on a specific database, on a specific table. That's it. Only thing is, okay, if I gave access, giving access to the SQL server, that doesn't mean you will get a complete access on the SQL server. I can restrict you based on your roles and responsibilities. Why? Because in the organization, developers will be there, junior developers, senior developers, okay, and the data consumers will be there, okay. So based on their work nature, I have to provide access. I cannot give same access to everyone, right? If I can give you, I can give the same access to everyone, but the thing is, they can misuse it. One junior developer can delete the table without knowing. There might be a chance they can misuse the permission. So based on their responsibilities only, will give the access, will restrict him in each level, will restrict him in the Windows level, will restrict him in the SQL server level, will restrict him in the database level, will restrict him in the table level also. Okay, is it clear, guys? Only one thing. Okay, so if you create any login, either SQL login or Windows login, generally by default it can connect to the SQL server, but it cannot access any of the databases. If you want to give access to the specific database, you can give, or if you want to give access to multiple databases also, you can give. When you give any access to the particular user, to the particular login on the particular database, a user will be created in the database. So on behalf of this login, that user will work, and it is going to read the data from the database, and it will write the data to the database, guys. On behalf of this Shanmukh user will help to this particular Shanmukh login, guys. This is a login, this is a user. Logins are server level entities, whereas users are database level entities. If I want to give access to this particular database, one more Shanmukh will be created in the Paytm database. If I gave access to the Shanmukh login on GPay database, one more Shanmukh user is created in the particular GPay database. So how many databases you need access? If I gave access on that particular database, in each database one user is created. That user is called a database level user. Is it clear, guys? Any issues, any doubts, any questions here, please?
Hello.
Yes, please.
For DBA team, only will log in using Windows authentication, or you can use server level authentication also.
Sorry, I did not get your question. Your voice is breaking, Sandhya.
One.
Okay, if you want, just type your question in the chat. Okay.
Is it audible?
Audible but breaking. Okay, if you have any questions, just type your question in the chat. Any other questions, guys, here? Any other questions in this space?
Yes. If it is a Windows authentication or SQL authentication, both logins should be present in logins list. Right?
Correct. Very good. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? No questions? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's, what is this? Right. So let's discuss about some terminologies. Okay, authentication, authorization. Does DBA team will use only Windows authentication? Mostly, Sanjay, mostly DBAs will use Windows authentication. Why? Because we should have DBA database administrator is a kind of maintenance job. Okay, is a kind of course, maintenance is also a part of the DBA. I'm not saying this is a completely maintenance job. Maintenance is also part of the DBA. So when we can do the maintenance in the machine level, if you're having complete access, right? So 99% is we are Windows logins only. Windows logins always use Windows authentication only. Okay.
Sir,
Yes, please.
if it is sysadmin login,
Hmm.
he need to create users in database level also.
Correct. He can create. He can create.
Yeah,
If I gave you access, if you are a sysadmin, you can create one more login and you can give access to another person.
Without login, cannot connect the sysadmin to databases.
Of course, that's not at all possible. How come? Without the key, can you open your house door?
Okay.
If you know any magic and all, I don't know, but generally it's not possible.
అన్నీ ఇక్కడ తెస్తారులే ఆన్లైన్ లో లాగిన్
Yes. Can you
77
Who is
ఆన్లైన్
that? Who is
100
that?
గ్రామ్స్ 77
Kachayani or Sandhya?
అంతేనా?
Sandhya, I guess. Okay. Yes. Clear? Any questions here? Fine. Okay. So authentication, authorization, principal, securable, login, user. So authentication, let's discuss about authorization first, then authentication. Authorization means what, guys? Authorization means having access on one object. Authorized, you're an authorized person to use that object. Having access on one object is called authorization. Okay. For example, if you go to any shopping mall, or if you're working in any company, generally you can see some rooms are not accessible to everyone, right? Some rooms are not accessible to everyone. If you go to shopping mall, you can see that power rooms and all not accessible to the public. Of course, public can come, they can visit the shopping mall, they can see the shopping mall, they can roam around the shopping mall, but they are limited to visit some shops, not all the shopping mall, guys. They cannot visit a power room and all. To visit to enter into the power room, there is a separate staff. So it depends upon their work nature. Power room maintenance staff, there is a separate staff for that. That staff only can log in into the particular power room. Okay, you are also entering into the shopping mall. That guy is also entering into the shopping mall, but your work is you want to do some shopping, so you will access some shops, 2 or 3 or 10 shops you will access, and then once your work is completed, you will come out of the shopping mall. But that guy has to work 8 hours or 9 hours, he has to work, so his work is different. So he can log into the power room and he can do whatever maintenance activities are there. He will complete all the maintenance activities. So two people are entering into the shopping mall. One guy work nature is different, another guy work nature is different. Okay, so it depends upon their work nature, you can access that particular resources. Authorization means having access on one resource or one object. Okay, if you are in the company, if you are working in any company, okay, generally you can see some rooms authorized entry only. There you can see some server rooms and all. Server rooms, generally you cannot enter into the server rooms. You are not an authorized person to enter into the server rooms. Windows people or maintenance staff, network team. Why? Because the server rooms, basically these people are responsible to maintain the server rooms. Windows team, network team, these people only can enter into that particular room. So that is called authorization. That's why you can see on the door, authorized entry only. Means only authorized people can enter into that particular room. Authorization means having access on one resource or one object is called authorization. So now you see that authorized entry only. So now what you are going to do, guys, imagine if you see the door is locked. Okay, the server room door, generally it will be locked due to security. So the door is locked and you can see on the door authorized entry only. So how come the people of Windows team or SQL, network team can enter into the room, guys? How come they can enter into the room generally if it is locked? Generally the doors will be auto locked, right? Once you open the doors will be auto locked in the organization. So how come Windows team or network team can log into that particular room, guys? How come? You know, right? You know the answer. Tell me.
Authorized username, password.
Correct. They will use different methods, right? They will use different methods. They will enter the password to open the door, or they will give biometric to open the door, or they will flash their ID card to open the door. Okay, so lot of ways are there, right? Lot of ways are there. Imagine, not only for organization security, guys, we are having digital security in our household items, right? The door will be locked using this digital locks and all. So digital locks, you can give biometric to open your door, or you can enter the password to open the door, or you can just give this particular what is that you'll give the face recognition software. By using the face recognition software also, it is going to unlock the door. Means the way how you are unlocking the door, that is called authentication. Means you are giving username and password, giving username or verifying username and password, verifying username and password is called authentication. It is going to authenticate. Okay, it is going to authenticate, guys, whether you are the correct username, you are the correct person or not. So imagine we are all using Gmail. So having access to Gmail is authorization. So you have access to Gmail. So now what you are going to do? You are going to log in into the Gmail. How you will log into the Gmail? You will give your username and password. The process of verifying, okay, once you give username, once you give password, then what it will do? It will check in the database whether Giri is there in my Gmail database or not. Yes, Giri is there. So what is the password? 123. Giri gave 123 password or not? Yes, Giri gave correct password 123. Yes, chalo. Giri, green signal will be there. Giri can log into the Gmail. If Giri gave 1234 password, okay, it will check Giri's official password is 123, but he gave 1234. It will compare the password, wrong password, it will throw. The process of verifying whether you are a correct user or not, that is called authentication. So we have two types of authentication. One is Windows authentication, second one is SQL authentication in the SQL server, guys. If you choose Windows authentication, again you know how it will work. If you choose SQL authentication, you know how it will work. What is principal? What is principal? Okay, so principal is nothing but accessing some resources. The person who is accessing the resources, or the object who is accessing the resources, accessing some resources is called the person. Actually, the person who is accessing the resources is called principal. Which resource he is accessing? Which resource he is accessing is called securable. So login generally, okay, Giri is a principal or securable, guys. The person who is accessing is called a principal. Okay, he is accessing a database. Now database is what? Securable. He is accessing a table. Table is what? Securable. Someone is trying to start their camera and stopping. Who is that? Okay, fine. Right, guys? Who is accessing the resources? That person is called principal. Which resources he is accessing? Those resources are called securables. Okay, if Shanmukh is accessing a table, Shanmukh, who is accessing? Shanmukh. Shanmukh is a principal. Which resource is accessing? He is accessing a table. That particular table is a securable, guys. Guys, again, these are small definitions only. Nothing to worry. Okay, no need to remember and all. Generally, they don't ask these kind of questions. Login is a server level entity, server level objects. Okay, login is a server level object, whereas user is a database level object. Means if login is created, you can connect to the SQL server. Okay, so if I gave any access like this, if I gave any access to this login on any database, a user will be created on behalf of this login. Can I create user without this login, guys? Is it possible?
No, sir.
Not possible. Okay, I cannot create a user without login, guys. Okay, that is not possible. But in the SQL server, extra feature is there, I'll tell you. Okay, but that is an extra feature that also we can do. But again, the concept is same. Okay, so without login, I cannot create a user. And when I gave access to any database, when I gave access to any database to any login, automatically a user will be created in the database on behalf of that particular login, guys. Fine. So now what you are going to do, guys, take the break, come back at 8:35. Okay, So 8:20, right? 8:35, 15 minutes, take 15 minutes break and come back at 8:35. So I'll show you the demo, how to create logins and all. Okay, how to create a Windows login, how to create a SQL login. Okay, so we'll discuss. The demo is like very simple. It's not, it won't take much time. Okay, I'll show you and we'll discuss other things, guys. Okay, come back at 8:35. Guys, any questions, any doubts? Any questions, guys? No questions? Are we good? Okay, fine. I hope you can hear me, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, done. Okay. So, so I'll show you how to create a Windows login. Okay. How to create a SQL login. Okay. How to create a Windows login, how to create a SQL login. I'll show you now. How to create a group login. I'll explain about the group login concept also. So I'll show you these three things now. Okay. Right. And of course, once the logins are created, how to give access on databases and all that we are going to discuss. Right. So for Windows login, generally, there is a prerequisite, guys. Okay. If you see here, imagine Shanmukh is a Windows login, right? Shanmukh is a Windows login. Based on this Windows login, I can create a login for this Shanmukh in the SQL server. This is a Windows login, right? Based on this login, I told you, right? A child, father and grandfather. Without grandfather, father won't be there. Without father, child won't be there. Right? Now I want to create a Windows login, means I should have grandfather. So Windows user should be there. This is called Windows user, Windows level user. Okay. So without Windows user, I cannot create a Windows login in the SQL server. This is only for Windows logins. Based on this Windows user, I can create a Windows login, and then based on this Windows login, I can create a database level user, guys. This is how generally security will be. This is for Windows login. For SQL login, okay, for SQL login, you can directly create a SQL login in the SQL server, guys. Okay, imagine this is a SQL login. Okay, for SQL login, there is no prerequisite. For SQL login, you can directly create a SQL login in the SQL server and you can give access on any of the database, guys. Okay, so now if I want to create a Windows login, what I should have, guys? Windows level user I should have first. Based on the Windows level user only, I can create a SQL login, right? Right. So now I want to create a, this is Windows login, guys. This is SQL login. Okay, just to make you, to show you the difference between these two. This is a Windows login, this is a SQL login. SQL login also same. In case if I want to give access to any SQL login on any database, I can give access. At the same time, one user will be created. Okay, for SQL login in that particular database, guys. Concept is same. For Windows login, this grandfather, father, child relationship will be there. For SQL login, only, okay, father and child relationship will be there. Fine. So now what I have to do, I want to create a Windows login, right? So for that, what I have to do, I should have Windows user. Guys, in the organization, we don't create any Windows users. Okay, this will be done by who can create Windows users, guys?
Windows team.
Windows team. Okay, only Windows team can do this. Okay, Windows team. So this will be done by Windows team, guys. Okay, we don't create any Windows users in the organization. Once they created the Windows user, they will update us. They will update the ticket. Based on that particular update, we have to create a Windows login, guys. Okay, so let me create a Windows user now. Let me go to the Windows machine. Guys, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Lenovo ROM seems you are having some issue. Just reconnect again. Okay. Right, fine. So let me create a Windows user first. How to create a Windows user? Go to Windows machine, open run. Okay, type lusrmgr.msc. L means local, usr means user, mgr means manager. Okay, lusrmgr.msc, local user manager. Open this, go to user section. You can see only administrator, right? Based on this particular login is created. This login is created based on this administrator user. Okay, now I'll create one more user, guys. New user. Okay, I'll create one more user, new user. So this time I'll create a user called Shanmukh. Okay, right, this is the username. Control C, tab. Okay, we have to give the password, right? I'll give my regular default password, strong password. For Windows users you have to give strong password, right? User must change. Generally in the organization it will be turned on, so that why? Because Windows team will create the password for you, right? Imagine I am from Windows team. Okay, you are asking a Windows login. I created your login. Okay, on behalf of you, you don't have permission, so I created a login for you. So I know the login name and password, right? I can misuse, right? So if I select this option, when I gave this username credentials to the particular user Shanmukh, once he is trying to log into this Windows machine for the first time, it will ask you to change the password immediately. Once you gave the default password from Windows team, immediately it will ask you to change the new password. You cannot skip it. You have to change the password, then only you can go to next. So in that way, Windows team don't know our passwords, guys. Okay, why? Because of this option, user must change password at next logon. So I am just disabling it. Wantedly I am disabling it. Okay, user cannot change password never expires. Generally in the organization it won't be like this. It will select the first option, guys. Okay, create. That's it, close. Now for this Windows login, I want to create a Windows login in the SQL server. For this Windows user, I want to create a Windows login, right? How to create it? It's very easy. Security, right click, logins, new login. Okay, here you have to choose which login you want, Windows or SQL. If you want Windows login, select Windows authentication. Click on the search button and type your username. What is the username? Shanmukh, right? Type Shanmukh. Check names. Yes, it's there. Computer name / username. For example, if I give Giri, okay, Giri, if I click on check names, I'll get error like this. The following name cannot be found, Giri. As user is already there, that's why I'm able to get the results like this. Check names, I can see user found. Okay, this is the username. Click OK. Okay, right, guys? So forget about the server roles. There is a separate discussion on server roles and database roles. User mapping also I'll tell you. Okay, I gave the server username only. Okay, I just gave the username and Windows authentication. That's it. Click OK. In this way I can create a Windows login, guys. Okay, so if you see here, a login is created, Shanmukh. Now Shanmukh can log into the SQL server, guys. Okay, what Shanmukh has to do, this is administrator connection, right? I have to first log off from this administrator connection. I have to log in as Shanmukh. Okay, then I can open my own SSMS. Then while connecting to the server, here I'll get a machine name / Shanmukh. As this login is already existed in the logins list, then I can connect to the SQL server. This is how generally we can create a Windows login. Clear, guys? Very simple. Right click, new login, choose Windows authentication, give the name of the login. Okay, this will do only Windows team. No. See, creating user will do only Windows team. Once they created the user, they will update us. This part we have to do. SSMS, they cannot do anything. Okay, SSMS, they cannot log in and they cannot do anything. Why? Because they don't have access to do anything on the SQL server side. The prerequisite is Windows user. Windows user will be created by Windows team. They will update us. Based on their updates, we have to create a Windows login in the SQL server. Clear, Sandhya? Fine. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm clear now.
Yeah. So next is SQL login. Okay, SQL login, there is no prerequisite, guys. Right click, new login. If you want SQL login, select SQL Server authentication. Okay, give the login name. I can give same Shanmugh, guys. One user can have Windows login and SQL login also, no issues. Okay, Shanmugh. I'm giving password. Generally, you have to give strong password, minimum 8 characters, one caps, one small, like this. But I'm going to give very small password. Every time I have to use that password, right? Okay, so as I'm giving very small password, generally you cannot do like this. You have to give strong password in the organization, guys, and you have to select all these options. Okay, right? Or else why to confuse? Let it be like this. Okay, no problem. I'll give the password. Okay, so I have to give the default password and the password generally. In case if someone comes to me, one developer called Shanmugh, his name is also Shanmugh. He comes to me, the database team, and he asked, hey, can you please create an access for me? So what we are going to do, then we have to go to that particular SQL server and right click new login, and we have to give the login name, SQL server authentication. We have to choose strong password and make sure all these things are turned on. Okay, that's it, guys. This is how generally we can create a SQL login. That's it. You can see here the difference between SQL login and Windows login. Windows login, generally you can see computer name / login name. SQL login, you can see only login name. Just refresh it, you can see, okay, the name will go up. You can see like this. Now Shanmugh wants to connect, right? How Shanmugh will connect now? Shanmugh is a developer, imagine. Now Shanmugh will open SSMS, okay? Shanmugh will open SSMS in his laptop. Like this it will be. Shanmugh will click on this connect button. Okay, server name is this. Okay, I have to choose SQL authentication, right? So Shanmugh is a SQL login. Shanmugh. Okay, and password. The password. We are going to share the password to him. Hey, this is your password. Use this password for the first time login. Then immediately it will ask you to change your password. Okay. Login failed for user. Okay, I'll tell you guys why we are getting this error. Okay, cancel it. Let me connect to our SQL server with Windows authentication. Right. So during installation, I told you one point. Initially during installation, I selected Windows authentication. Later, can I change it to SQL authentication? Right? What is the answer, guys? We can
Yes.
change the authentication at any time. Okay. So why I got the error now? Why? Because now SQL server is configured with Windows authentication, where I can see, go to instance properties, go to security page. There you can see here, Windows authentication means only Windows logins can log into the SQL server now. Now I want to change this. Why? Because I want to use SQL authentication. SQL logins also are there, right? They also has to log in. So I want to change this. Select this option. Now SQL people and Windows people also can connect to the SQL server. Click OK. Once you did this change, you have to see here what it is saying. Some of your configuration changes will not take effect until SQL server is restarted. Once you did this change, what you have to do? To take effect, you have to restart the SQL server. Right click, restart, and yes again.
Can we see the user passwords?
No, you cannot see. You cannot see. Even though you are a sysadmin, you cannot see the password. Okay. So if you can see the password, where is the security? You can log in like Shanmugh, and you will do something, and in the error logs it will show my name, Shanmugh did something. Okay. So you cannot do that. Right. So now let me connect again. I'm just disconnecting this connection. Connect. This time again same SQL authentication. Okay. And Shanmugh is the login name, right? Shanmugh, and password is this one. So generally DBA gave one default password. Okay, I'll log in with the same default password. Once I logged in, then immediately it will ask you to change the password. Means even SQL DBA also don't know your password. I'm giving a different password this time. Right, now see here. Now tell me the difference between these two, guys. Okay, tell me the difference between these two.
If the user forgot a password, then what should we do?
That is different thing. Okay, and I'm asking a different question. Now tell me the difference between these two. What is the difference between these two? This connection and this. These are two connections. Don't think two servers. These are two connections. This is administrator connection. This is Shanmugh connection. What is the difference between these two? Tell me, guys.
అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటర్ కలెక్షన్ లో విండోస్ నేమ్ /administrator
Okay,
అని
very
కనిపిస్తుంది.
good. One difference. Next.
Windows authentication. Administration is Windows authentication.
That is
Okay,
a SQL
very
Server
good.
authentication.
Okay, very good. Next. What changes you can see here? Between this connection and this connection, what changes you can see? I can see here is an administrator account. I can see
Administrator.
Shanmukh. Okay. Other than this difference, what else?
Instance name is different.
Instance name is different. Instance name is different. Instance name is same only.
No.
What is the other difference?
In Windows, there is SQL Server.
It is
If it is a Windows login, instance name with account name.
account.
That's okay. That is called login name, guys. This is not instance name. Only this part is instance name. This part is bill number. This part is login name. That we have already discussed. Login name is different. Okay, that's okay. Other than this difference, what else you can
The
see on the
one-
screen?
The one who log in with server cannot access Windows.
Cannot.
Have no permission in the Windows.
That's okay. That's that one you can see on the screen. On the screen, what difference?
SQL Server agent is not
SQL
visible.
Server
Very
agent.
good. That's very good. Agent you can see here. You cannot see agent here. Why?
Because that is SQL Server
SQL Server
authentication, I think.
That's okay. SQL Server authentication also you can see agent, but the thing is, Shanmukh doesn't have permissions to see agent. Okay. If it is SQL Server authentication means, imagine if SQL Server authentication only if Shanmukh is having sysadmin, he can see agent. The thing is, Shanmukh having only one access, that is connect access, connect permission. You don't have any permissions. See here, this is Shanmukh, right? If I expand databases, I can see databases, but if I am trying to expand, I'll get the error like this. The database batch 46 is not accessible. But if you go to here and if you're trying to expand this database, I can expand the database. Why? Because this person is having access, complete access to this database. That's why he is able to access, he is able to expand. But this person, this Shanmukh does not have complete access though. So whenever he is trying to access the database, he's going to get the error like this. Okay, so it's not like SQL authentication cannot see the agent and all, not like that. This person doesn't have enough permissions to see all other objects. This person doesn't have permissions, doesn't have complete permissions to see all objects, guys. This is of course, this account is a sysadmin, right? So he can see all objects. Is it clear? Clear, guys? So here you can see the login name is different. Here the login name is different. And here I cannot see all the objects. Here I can see all the objects. Okay, so if you are not a authorized person, means if you don't have complete access, if you don't have complete access, so you cannot see objects, complete objects in the management studio, guys. Okay, clear? Fine. So this is your SQL login and this is your Windows login, guys. This is how generally developers cannot see this access again. They will open their SSMS and they will give the username and password. They will select SQL authentication. They will connect to the SQL server based on their permissions. Some people can see some extra objects, some people cannot see some other objects, and also depends upon their permissions. If any person cannot see any object or cannot access any object, means that person doesn't have enough permissions to access or to see those objects, guys. Right? Clear? Let me disconnect and let me connect again using SQL authentication. Right? Okay, fine. This is a Windows connection. This is a SQL connection, guys. Right. So let's discuss about the group login. So I just discussed how to create a Windows login, discussed SQL login also. So group login. What is the use of this group login? Why we need this group login concept?
If you
Let
want
me
to,
tell you. Yes, yes, please.
you want to give the permissions at a time to set off some team.
Very good. Yes, very good. To set off people. To set off people, imagine 100 developers will be there in my organization. 100 developers means imagine all 100 developers will do same kind of work, right? They all need same kind of permissions.
Yes.
So what I have to do? I have to give 100 times. I have to give the permissions for 100 users for 100 times. Like that 100 servers are there. So I have to give 100 permissions to 100 users on 100 databases which are present in 100 servers. Is it possible like that? It's possible, but manual intervention will be more. Lot of hard work is there. So to avoid these things, generally we'll prefer group login concept. What is this group login concept? Group login means you can create one group, okay? The people who are looking, even though is a single person, the person who is looking for permissions first will create a group for him, okay? So next time if anyone wants same kind of permissions, I'll simply add him into that group, guys. Nothing has to do from our side. We can simply add him into that particular group. Automatically whatever group permissions are there, automatically he can get all the permissions. Okay, why? Because that group is having access. The whole group is having access. So if any new person joined, directly we can add him into the group. Automatically whatever group permissions are there, all the permissions will be applied on that person. If any person removed from the organization, terminated from the organization, or left the organization, will simply remove that person from the group. So in case imagine Suresh, imagine one user called Suresh. Suresh is having access on 100 servers. Okay, he is a part of SQL DBA team. He is having access on 100 servers. So now Suresh left the organization. He was switched to different organization. Now if I want to remove access to Suresh on all 100 servers, it is a headache process, right? Every server I have to log in, I have to remove his access. It's a different difficulty process and it's a headache process. What I'll do instead of that, I'll remove Suresh from the SQL DBA group. So he don't have any permissions now. He cannot connect to SQL server. Even though he left the organization, he cannot connect to the SQL server by any means. Is it clear, guys? That is the use of the group login. In the organization will follow group login only to avoid this kind of issues and all. Generally, we don't encourage individual logins like this. This is an individual login. You can see logins. Shanmukh, administrator Shanmukh. These are the different logins. Can I see the same logins in this SQL server, guys? Can I see? Yes or no? Whatever logins I can see here, can I see in the Shanmukh connection same logins?
No.
Why? Why? I don't have permissions. See here, how many logins I can see? I can see only my login and default login SCA. But how many logins are there? Almost 10 logins are there. But why I cannot see all other logins? Why I can see only my login and SCA login? Why? Because I don't have permissions to see other logins as well. Okay. So if you see two logins like this, don't think like only two logins are present. Might be that user doesn't have enough permissions to see other logins. Okay. Right. So group login, that is the advantage of the group login, guys. So,
Sir, what are the use of other logins?
See, other logins, okay, if you ask these logins, these are the default logins that you will get when you install the SQL server. Like these 4 logins are service account logins. While installing SQL server, we'll choose service accounts, right? Service account, what it will do? It will read the data, write the data. Right? How come it can read the data? Service account also has to log into the SQL server, then only it can read the data, right? So if it has to log into the SQL server, anyone who has to be logged into the SQL server, they should be a part of this group, right? Logins list, right? So that's why these logins will be created during installation itself. Default logins. These will be created during installation itself. What they are going to do? These are the service account logins. These logins should be there to read the data, to write the data. These two are certificate logins. SQL server will use some certificates in the backend. Okay, So that certificate has to log into the SQL server to check the validity of the certificate and all. So you can see these two logins are certificate related logins, and these logins are like other logins which will help you. Like these are service account logins. Service account also has to log into the SQL server. So if anyone wants to log into the SQL server, means they should be part of this group, right? So that's why you can see these are the default logins. It will be created automatically when you install SQL server. Okay. If you choose a custom service account, then you have to create a separate login for that service account. Right. So yes. So group login. So generally in the organization will prefer group login only. So you know the advantages of the group login. Group login is easy to create, easy to delete, easy to maintain, guys. Okay, easy to create, easy to delete, easy to maintain. That's why we'll prefer group login. So what Windows team will do, first Windows team will create a group, okay, in the Active Directory. In the Active Directory, they will create a group, guys. Okay, let me access this one. Okay, imagine this is an AD machine. I'll explain, guys, what is AD, what it will do, everything. There is a separate class. 2.5 hour session is there on AD. Okay, nothing to worry. I'll show you how to create Active Directory and all. Even though that is not our part, that's the Windows part, but still I'll show you how to do that. That is very important. Okay, so this is Active Directory. Active Directory. Okay, so here what Windows team will do, they will create a Windows group, guys. They will create a group for SQL DBA. Imagine this is a group. So in this group, okay, just a minute, group people will be there. Okay. Okay, imagine these three people are part of this group. So of course this group will have a group name. Imagine the group name is SQL DBA group. Okay, so I told you, right, for Windows login you should have Windows user in the Windows machine level, or slash or user should be created in the Active Directory level also. Active Directory, simply Active Directory is a centralized store, a security system. Centralized security system, guys. Active Directory is a centralized security system. Anyone who is accessing the office resources, either office laptop or office rooms, anyone who is accessing the office resources should be part of Active Directory. Why? Because imagine this is one server, I can create one user. Okay, that will be fine. Imagine if I am having 100 servers, 100 users I have to create, means in each server I have to create 100 users, then only the 100 people can access that particular machine. Like that, 100 servers, 100 into 100 users, 10,000 users I have to create, which is very difficult process, right? So that's why individual logins concept won't be entertained in the organization. Base depends on that, depends on the organization to organization, guys, again. But Active Directory concept will be there in every company. Okay, so what they are going to do, they will create a group login. Initially they will create with one person, two person. Okay, later they can add, they can remove the person, guys. Now imagine if one user is there, okay, if one user is there, he just joined in the organization. So what they will do, Windows team will simply add that particular user. Okay, they'll add that particular user inside this group, guys. So automatically if a login is created for this server, okay, for this particular account, this group login account, okay, they can connect to the SQL server. Means you can either follow this method or this method, but in the organization will follow this method. This method is helpful for multiple users. Okay, this is not good. Just to explain in a basic way, I explained like this, but you can either follow this one or this one. Okay, so what is the advantage of this one, guys? Group logins. Group of people will create a group for the people, guys, group of persons. So we can create a single login for all this particular group. Okay, so everyone who is part of this group can connect to my SQL server. Imagine here 4 accounts are there. If these 4 people has to access the SQL server, 4 users I have to create here manually. But in this case, if I create a group in the Active Directory for these 4 people, then no need to create anything. Directly I can create a group login for this particular group. This is Active Directory group. I can say Windows group. Okay, for this particular Windows group I can create a SQL group login, guys. Based on this group I can create a SQL group in the SQL server. So once I created a group login in the SQL server with the same group, automatically the people who are there in this list can connect to my SQL server. Next time if anyone left the organization, Windows team will simply remove him from the particular group. So he is not there in the group, he cannot connect to the SQL server, guys. Clear? Group login concept. So only group will be created once. This group you can map to thousands of servers, guys. In my organization I am maintaining 7,000 servers, right? So only one group will be created, one SQL DBA group will be there. So this group will having access on all 7,000 servers. Imagine if there is no group login concept. In all we are having 12 members in a team. In each server they have to create 12 users, like 7,000 servers, 7,000 into 12 users they have to create. If anyone left the organization from these 12 members, they have to remove that person from all 7,000 machines, guys. Is it clear? That is the advantage of the group login. Yes, any issues, guys? So group login, for this group login, okay, now I am going to create a Windows level group in the Windows machine. So but generally each machine we don't create it, right? So whenever we create Active Directory, again I will show you how to create a group login. In the Windows machine also I can create a group, in the Active Directory also I can create a group, but in the organization will follow this Active Directory concept, guys. Okay, so let me create a group. Very simple, guys. Go to the lusrmgr.msc. I am going to create 2 more users. Okay, this time let me take some of you from this list, Akshay and Durga. Okay, so let me take your names. Akshay, 1 minute, Akshay. Okay, and password, I'll give the default password 123 123. Okay, done. Next, Durga. These 2 people are on top, guys. Okay, I gave the names, that's why. And 1 2 3. Okay, now I am having 3 users, guys. Okay, now what I am going to do, first I'll create a group. Go to groups, right click, new group. Again this part also will be done by the Windows team, guys. Okay, you don't do anything. This creating groups and all will be done by the Windows team. Once they created the groups, then we have to create a SQL login for that groups, guys. SQL DBAs, imagine. Okay, now I have to add all 3 members, right? Add Shanmukh is 1 user, semicolon, you have to give semicolon. Akshay, semicolon, Durga. Check names. Right, now you can see all 3 people came. You cannot give other name, guys. Okay, imagine if I want to give Giri, as Giri is not present in the list, name not found, so you cannot give other names. I created Shanmukh, Durga and Akshay, right? So that's why I can get these names. Click OK and create. Right, now group is created. Where is that? This is the group. Now let's go to the security. Right click, new login. Now I want to give access to Durga, Akshay and Shanmukh. Of course Shanmukh is having access. Okay, Shanmukh is having access. I want to give access to Durga and Akshay. What I have to do? I have to create a new login. I have to create login for Durga. I have created login for Akshay. Imagine if there is no group login concept. Like that, I want to give access to 100 servers. In each server, I have to log in. I have to create Shanmukh, Durga, Akshay. Like that, 100 times I have to create 100 into 3, 300 times 300 users I have to create, which is time waste process. Okay, right? So now what I'm going to do, simply I created a group, right, with the whatever people who are looking for a permissions. I created a group. So for them, the group login is a Windows login, guys. There is no SQL group login. Okay, so select Windows authentication as you created Windows users. Now here you have to type your group login name, SQL DBS. See here, now you are getting error, right? So why you are getting error? Go to object types. Here you have to select groups. Make sure you choose groups. Now check names again. Now you can see group is there, right? Click OK. Now I'm just clicking OK, right? That's it, guys. Now in this group, 3 people are there. Means here you cannot confuse, guys. Now Durga can connect to SQL server. Akshay can connect to SQL server. Why, guys? Why? If you have any doubts, let me show you. Open the management studio with run as different user. Okay, run as different user. Why? Because already one user is there. I connected as a Shanmukh, right? So I have to log off and I have to log in as Durga or Akshay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in as Durga. Okay, and I'm going to use the password 123. So I'm trying to open SSMS with a different user. Okay, this time I can see Durga name. So as discussed in the morning, anyone wants to connect to the SQL server, there should be part of this particular logins list, right? Now see here, just a minute, it's opening. One minute. Right. Now tell me, guys. Now if you see here, you can see Durga, right? Now tell me, Durga can connect to the SQL server or not? Durga is not there in this list. Durga can connect to the SQL server or not? Tell me, guys. Just try it, yes or no. No problem.
Yes.
Try it, guys. Only one person responded. 22 people are
yes,
there.
we can connect.
Yes.
Why like that? She is not there in this list, right? Why she can connect? How come she can connect?
She's in the group list.
Very good. Okay. So now go to this, click on connect button. Durga can connect. Why? Because she might be a member of any group. So how to identify whether this is a group login or SQL login or Windows login? How to identify, guys? By just looking how to identify. This is a
There
group login, SQL login, Windows
is
login.
a symbol. I mean, button.
Very good.
One button.
Very good. Yeah. If it is a SQL login, you can see only names, guys. You don't see computer names. If you see computer names, those are Windows logins. If you see this icon, 2 people are there with server. Okay. This is your group login icon. Okay, guys. So this is how generally you can find out. This is how generally security will be managed in the organization, guys. So most of the companies, they will prefer group logins only. Why they will prefer group logins? Okay, so instead of creating users in every machine, every time if they create a group login and if they added the person in that particular group, then automatically now I don't want to give access to Durga. The SQL DBS will have same access. Whoever there in this particular group, all 3 people will have same access, guys. Sir, is it possible to modify access of each individual person in that group? No. Group will have access. If you are added to that particular group, you will also get same access. Okay, guys? Clear? Now instead of 3 logins, you can see only 1 login. So generally that's why if you are having hundreds of logins also, which is not good to look, guys. Okay, so that's why generally that is one issue, and second thing is this individual logins issue. So generally we don't prefer individual logins, rather than that we'll prefer group logins. Again, I'll explain group logins in the Active Directory. While creating Active Directory, I'll explain, but not like this. I'll just give you a brief introduction about the group login in the Active Directory concept. But we don't create any group logins in the Windows level, so nothing to worry. Windows team will do that. Once it is completed, they will update us. Then we have to create a SQL login for that particular Windows group, guys. Okay, fine.
Hello.
Right? Yes, please. Yes.
Sir, can we re-add another person in this group?
Of course, happily we can add it. Let me show you. Okay, let me show you. First, what we have to do, we have to. Who is that? Who asked that question?
This is Sandhya.
Sandhya. Okay, let me create a new user, Sandhya. Sandhya. Okay, so I'm going to give the password 123 123. Of course, next this one, create, done. Okay, now what I have to do, Sanjay is not part of the DBA group, right? First I have to add Sanjay into the DBA group. Okay, groups, SQL DBS, add Sandhya. Everything will be done by the Windows team only, guys. Click OK, apply. Okay, done. Now Sanjay is also having access. You want to see? Let me open Management Studio with run as different user. Right now you can see here Sandhya. Okay, so just click connect. Sanjay is able to connect. Right? Clear, Sandhya? So it's very easy. I no need to create a separate login in the SQL server for you. We'll request Sanjay is a new person. Sanjay joined in the organization. So DBA team will update to update to the Windows team. Hey Windows team, Sanjay is a new person. So please add her into the SQL DBA group. So Windows team will add you into the SQL DBA group. Automatically you'll get the access. If I want to remove the access, I can remove the access.
The group person all are having a Windows authentication permission.
Correct. See, group means Windows authentication only. There is no SQL server level group. Okay.
Then how to give the restriction to group person?
It's your wish. How to give access, how to give restrictions, I'll let you know later. Okay. Of course, we are going to discuss now. Okay. So don't think now Sanja, Durga can do whatever they want. See here, they cannot see agent. Don't think they are having complete access. They are already restricted. Okay. You cannot see SQL server agent here. Okay, so that we can do.
They
that,
all have
right?
Windows authentication only.
Windows authentication doesn't mean that you are having complete access.
So they will give us some permissions to access.
Correct. For this group, I have to give permissions. Then only that Sanjay or Durga or Akshay or whoever there in that group, they can do that. Again, I am saying these people only can connect to the SQL server. They don't have complete permissions. Windows authentication doesn't mean that you are having complete access. I told you there is access wise, there is no difference between Windows login and SQL login. Even though you are a Windows login, I have to give you a specific access. Even though you are a SQL login, I have to give you a specific access. Access wise, there is no difference between SQL login and Windows login. Only difference, the way you are connecting. SQL login, you have to connect in a different way. Windows login, you have to connect in a different way. That's it.
If it is a SA user, then we are having full permissions.
That of course, SA generally will have full permissions. SA means sysadmin will have full permissions. Okay, guys.
సార్
Hello,
లెఫ్ట్ ఎలా అవ్వాలి ఇది
sorry.
గ్రూప్ లో ఉన్నారు కదా ఒక న్యూ జాబర్స్ ఎట్లా లెఫ్ట్ అవుతారు ఒకరు
Remove. So in case if you want to remove, again you have to request Windows team. Hey Windows team, please remove this person from the group. Okay, he will go to this, he will he will select that particular user, he will remove it. Okay, or he will remove Durga and apply and okay. Now Durga cannot connect. See here. Now this is Durga connection, right? This is Durga, right? Durga is able to connect, right? Let me disconnect and let me connect again with Durga. Same name, right? Connect. She is taking generally it will take some time to synchronize, guys. But as Durga is not part of the group now, okay, Durga cannot connect to the SQL server. Am I created any separate login for her? Durga. Akshay, Sanjay, Shanmukh, right? Okay. It might take some time to synchronize, guys, between a SQL login and a Windows group. So now Durga is not part of the this particular team, right? The SQL DBS group, right? So Durga cannot connect to the SQL server generally. So let me close it. Let me reopen it again. Let me check. See here, login failed for user Durga. Okay, if Windows team directly removes her from the group, then she cannot log into the SQL server. Clear, guys? So I can add it in case if I want to give access, I can add. Windows team can add into the group. Of course, Windows team, they don't take the decisions. We'll request Windows team. DBA team will request Windows team. Hey, Durga is our new joiner. Please add her into this SQL DBA group. Durga left the organization. Please remove her from the SQL DBA group. That's it. So if they added, Durga automatically will get the access. If they remove, Durga automatically will remove the access, guys. Clear?
Sir, first we created the Windows authentication user in a single user. That user having a SQL agent is there, but we are added in the group. That person's SQL agent is not there.
No.
That is a Windows authentication user.
No, don't confuse. No, I shown you SQL agent is there only for this administrator. There is no SQL agent for any other users I shown you till now. Okay, don't confuse. SQL administrator. Why you can see administrator? Administrator is having access. Earlier I connected that particular user. I connected with Shanmukh before and then administrator later. So that's why. Again, agent access is there only for administrator. Okay, so as administrator only can see. Don't think like first we created a user, he is having agent access. No, till now any user, SQL user or Windows user doesn't have any agent access till now. Show me if you see anywhere. Agent user, if you want agent access means you should have extra privileges. We haven't gave any extra permissions to any user till now. You just confused with administrator. Administrator only is able to see agent till now. Okay, no other user. See, this is a Shanmukh. He cannot see agent. In the same way, Durga, Sanja, they can't see the agent, guys. Clear?
While installing a SQL server, we added one user. That is a administrator user.
Correct.
That user having a SQL server agent.
Sysadmin permissions. Sysadmin, not agent. Whenever you are adding a users during installation, okay, generally those people will get sysadmin permissions by default.
Okay, get it.
Yeah. So during installation, I added administrator connection. So that's why he got permissions, sysadmin permissions. So that's why he can see agent and all. Any questions, guys?
So, whatever the permissions which are given to that group, that applies to all the people in the group, right?
That we'll discuss what permissions we have to give, and that we'll discuss. Okay. As of now, is it clear?
Yeah.
So a lot of permissions: read permissions, write permissions, database level permissions, table level permissions. Okay. Different roles also there. So depends upon the requirement to requirement. We'll give the access, guys. Okay, we'll discuss about our permissions. Till now, we just discussed about the logins. Permissions part is separate. I'll discuss about the permissions. Nothing to worry. Okay, if it is clear, that's it for now. Okay, so we'll connect today evening at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. We'll connect today evening at 6 p.m. 6 to 8:30, guys. Okay, and we'll continue how to give permissions on data.
Sir, I'm trying to fix the MSI MSP error. It is asking. Hello.
Just follow the last class, fetching class, how to fix the MSP error. I just shown you in the last class. Follow it. Okay, you have to download one tool, fix MSP tool.
Yes, sir. I downloaded.
Okay. It will ask the media. You have to give the media, SQL Server software. You have to give
SQL Server software.
Correct. SQL Server. From that software, main software, it will copy the files. So if it is asking any media, just give the SQL Server media. Media means software. Okay, SQL Server media means SQL Server software.
I'm adding the software, but it's not showing.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, let me stop sharing. And 1 minute, 1 nimisha. Okay, just 1 minute. Guys, I see two people are connected to different devices from two different devices. Okay, so please fix that issue. Generally, if you are connecting from any other device, let me know. Okay, I have to approve that one, otherwise it will create some problems. Okay, fine. And let me stop sharing, and I guess you have a share option. Okay, so just share your screen. Yes. Who is having access? Okay, Naveen, right? Okay. Okay. Scan it. Scan the this one. Where is your software? This service pack. Cumulative update.
I attached it to the.
See, this is a separate. This is the SQL Server software. Where is your this one source? You have to scan the source. Where is your cumulative update? The one which you downloaded. Where is that cumulative update?
This is.
Go to desktop and just select that file. Then desktop. Here only in this list. Go to desktop.
But not showing in the.
Desktop is not showing here. Okay, go down.
The desktop is not showing.
Desktop is showing actually. The administrator, this PC. Click on the desktop once. On the top you can see. On the top you can see. It's not. Click on this desktop. Okay, fixing MSI.NET. This is the folder, right? Fix MSI MSP. Okay, do one thing. Okay, so cancel this. Cancel this. Cancel this small window. And again close this. Okay, Venkat, no issues. Okay, and this minimize this one, minimize this window. Okay, you can see the cumulative update, right? The second one, downloaded one. Right click, extract. You can see, right click. Do you see any extract option? Okay, so that means you don't have extract software in your server. Okay, so what you can do, let me take the access, guys. Approve it, minimize the server and approve it. Okay, fine, let me check whether I can access or not. Yeah, I can access. Right now you have to choose the source. Please specify folder which contains setup source and extracted files. Okay, select this folder and click OK. Okay.
Go down.
1 minute.
Scanners. Left one.
This one, huh?
Yes, yes.
It's not showing any missing one. It should show one say is missing. Okay, fine. If it is not showing, generally it will show, it will scan and missing 2 files, 3 files, like that it will show. Then we also choose scan, fix all option you have to choose. Okay, no problem. Okay, let me fix it using manual option. Okay, so what you can do, where is that cu file? Right click, run as administrator. Guys, others can leave, no issues. Okay, if you want to see the troubleshooting, just you can be here, otherwise you can leave it, no problem. It's taking a lot of time.
Sir, can I close the SSMA?
Close it. Don't want. Generally, while removing patching, you will get this missing MSP, okay? And select yes, next, and select the instance, next. Next, I don't want this, and just click on update, okay? Wow. browse. Okay, so this is the another one. I'm just checking. Okay, so here see Windows installer.
While removing it is asked.
Yes. Generally, sometimes while installing it will ask, sometimes while removing it will you will get that error missing MSP. Okay. So C Windows installer. Let me check C Windows. Can select this folder. Generally, MSP files will be there in the C Windows. In C Windows installer. Okay, you can do like this. See, now this time it is not asking. I guess it was already replaced, Naveen. Okay, so this time it's not asking. Generally, if you are getting that kind of issues in the error itself, it will show you from which location you have to copy the file, what is the file name, to which location you have to copy. So you have to replace the files and then you have to rerun the patch file again. The issue will be fixed. Okay. Either to remove or to uninstall, the process is same. If you have any doubts, in my old videos, I guess batch 43 like that, I just shown that how to fix MSP errors. Okay, just check it.
Okay.
Now it is not showing any missing MSF files. That's why even patching is also succeeded. I mean, removing the patching is also succeeded. Okay, so no issues. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. We'll connect in the evening 6 p.m. Thank you all.